True love, faith. True love, faith.
Hey everybody, this is Mari from ChristianMariTV. Coming back to you, just thanking you for tuning into part 2 of episode 1, where I share my testimony, my About Me video. I keep hitting this thing and it's gonna be okay. Just a disclaimer to you, I was listening back on my first video and I sound really monotone, and for that I apologize. It was really early in the morning. I had just recorded a full length episode. It was like an hour long and took a few takes, and the whole thing deleted. And then I was trying to record again, and then my husband was asleep, was about to wake up, and it was just crazy. I was trying to keep quiet and it just didn't work to my benefit. So I do apologize, and just know that that's not going to be the nature of this. So I'm going to be a little bit more energetic as time goes on. But I thank you so much for coming back and tuning back in to my show, and I just really hope that you enjoy. Thank you. With me, like, he just waited until I was just vulnerable enough for him to like run after me, because it was like boom, boom, boom. Things kept happening, boom, 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 and then he caught me. And the way that he caught me was, there was this, I've always loved music. There was this revival that a church had at the end of my block. So like I said, I'm from Chicago. The houses are really close together. We barely had maybe, like, I don't know, 10 feet between our houses. And there were flyers that were handed out and put in people's mailboxes, but I didn't really know about it. I didn't really pay attention, so I didn't know that there was going to be a revival on our block. So we were on a one-way street, and there was an alley, then the little section of the one-way street left, and then the main road. So they closed the area between the alley and the main road, and they started to set up a stage, and they started to set up chairs, and they started to set up lights, and they were setting up instruments and sound equipment. And I was like, what's going on here? Are they doing like a concert? So I'm sitting back outside, and I'm still watching them setting up and everything. And I was 16. I used to have our friends that lived on our block and would walk around the whole block, and nothing would happen. Like, I wasn't scared to walk around where we were. We'd go to the corner store, we'd go a couple blocks away or whatever at the most, and then just come back home. So I don't know why, but for some reason when they started the service, they had their, at this point I know it was the praise and worship, it wasn't a concert. They had the praise and worship people go up, and they were singing, and I was like, excuse me, but what is that? Because it was just so beautiful. Like, they really just tore it up, because it was like this Latin Christian music, but I didn't know it was Christian music because I wasn't over there. I just heard music. I didn't know what they were saying. I couldn't, it's kind of muffled from where my house was. But I kept feeling like this impulse to go, and I went inside the house. I asked, various people, to come with my mom, my brother, I don't know who else was at home, but I kept asking, like, for them to come with me. Go with me. Everybody said no. I was like, okay, fine, whatever. So, eventually, like, I tell my brother to go and, get one of our friends, and the guy comes with his mom, his aunt, and then my brother eventually also comes, and then the guy's uncle comes. So it's like 6 of us that came, and in front of the stage they had all the seats, set out or whatever, but we were like on the sideline, and we were just looking and enjoying the music. And then at whatever point they had the preacher go up. And to this day, I can't tell you what the message said. I wasn't even a Christian yet, so like I really just don't know. My light just went out, but it's okay. I really don't know what the message said. I don't remember anything. I haven't seen the video. But I remember what stuck with me, because we were going through a lot of stuff at the time, like I've said a couple times already, but yeah, I remember the preacher saying something about how, like, it doesn't matter what you've been through, and, you know, like, just how we go through so many different situations, and, excuse me, how the Lord is there with us, going through the things with us, and how it grieves him that these things are happening, but that we don't have to go through them by ourselves, because he's right there, and he cares, and he loves us, and he wants us to depend on him. And I think that up until then, I had never heard that message, and it was so strange to me to hear those words, that like God, like I don't know what my idea of him was, like just this ominous, like, being, like just this invisible man or whatever. Like, I don't know how he could hear me or how he could be in my life or whatever, but like it personalized him so much for me to know, like, you were there when, you know, these people were fighting, and I was sitting there crying, and I was sitting there trying to figure out what to do, or this person was like, you know, strung out, and, you know, like I had to sit there and watch them, or sit there and try to pick them up, or sit, you know, it was just so much stuff that had gone on, or this person was drunk and they were getting, you know, like violent or whatever, and God was there when that happened. And God was taking care of me, and God was loving me, and God was grieving that it was happening. And I had never heard that before. Like, I never knew that. I just had never even factored him into the equation. Like, I knew God existed, and I knew this happened, but like, I never put it together. I never factored that he even cared about that, or that he was even thinking about that. So that to me was like, man, I was, oh my God, tears. And next thing I know, they're doing an altar call. Like, mind you, I'm throwing these terms out there. When my friend was talking about praying and fasting and seeking God and reading the word and studying and, you know, worship, and now it's altar call and all, you know, like there's all these terms, and I wasn't really familiar with what all of those words meant. So they did an altar call, and I remember wanting to go up to the front, but not wanting to go by myself. I was like, if one of these people in this group goes, then I'm gonna follow. And then that's the next thing that happened. And then after I went up, you know, then, you know, not only did my friend went up, and then his mom and aunt went up, and then my brother and then the guy's uncle went up. I found out shortly thereafter that the only reason my brother went up was because I guess one of the ministers was talking in his face and his breath was hot. So my plea is, men and women of God, please brush your teeth before talking to somebody when they're at the altar. Don't get them trying to get them to go up and give their life to the Lord. I mean, they might go up there and tell the Lord about you, like, Lord, fix his breath, Jesus. You know, they might speak a prayer of faith, but that's not the kind of prayer that we need. You know, we want people to get saved. Please brush your teeth. Tic Tac, Listerine, mint, floss, something. Don't be out here ratchet. But yeah, so I found out later on that that church, it was like a small, like, Hispanic Pentecostal church. they had been praying and fasting. I don't remember if it was like for the whole like week or if it was a month. I believe it was a month that they had been praying and fasting because they were so invested in the community that they just wanted people to get saved. They wanted people in the area to get saved. They were looking at the block, all the residents on that block and saying, well, there are like 30 something houses here, but there are no families from these houses that are attending church. Like some people would attend church like hours away or whatever, like, but there were a lot of families that were not attending church, and they wanted to do something about it. So they kept praying, fasting, and trying to think of ways to strategize evangelism for the community. And that was one of the things that they decided to do. So it worked out because three of us got like for real saved that day, and on one of the other ones took a minute, but then she came later on, and then pray for the other ones. Amen. But we got saved, and we were taught like the scriptures, and we were taught how to memorize scripture and how to apply them and how to study the word. And we got really involved. I got really involved with worship and music and Sunday school and things like that. And with the youth group, there weren't that many of us, but it was still a good time. And we would fellowship with the other churches that were in our district. And it was just like, I don't know, it was just a good time. And I was there for like the first 9 years that I was saved. And then after that, like I moved out of the area and started attending another church. But yeah, so like I really missed it like so much the whole time I wasn't there. But everything happens for a reason, because my life trajectory from after that led to me meeting my husband at some point. So it worked out. And I love my church now. But yes, I can say that living a faith walk is not easy at all. And having a mirror put in front of yourself is not easy, because even 16 years later, or almost 16 years later, there is still so much in me that needs to be changed. But I can say I'm not the same person that I used to be, because I think like everything used to upset me. Everything, like I used to curse so much. I used to hate everything. I used to be angry all the time. Like, I mean, I deal with anger to a point, and there's still a lot in me that still needs to be worked out, because I'm by no means perfect or anywhere close to it. But I feel like if you knew me then and you know me now, there's a difference. It's not the same person that you're dealing with. And the Lord has done a lot of work, like that remodeling project, that building fund is still open, because this temple's not done. And yeah, but it's been a lot. It's been a lot of work. And sometimes starting work is easier than others. But yeah, I can't say I'm the same person. And I think that one of the things is that we learn a lot over time. We learn a lot over situations that happen. And I remember, going through like having Christian friends, and then having them like turn around and like talk about me, or like they just stopped being my friend, or they decided to not be available for me as a friend, or I was alone a lot sometimes, or Yeah, like it was just like I just went through so much stuff. Like really close friends just boom, like just vanish. And that was like after I got saved, like but I think one of the hardest things for me was when we almost lost my dad. That was like, God, that had to be like 2007 going into 2008. I remember he spent New Year's in the hospital, and we almost like that was just crazy to me. And I was trying to deal with it by like talking to some close friends, and like they pulled away from me at the time. Like just they knew that I was going through, and intentionally were like, I'm not going to be there for her. I don't have time for this. And that made it so much more difficult to deal with it, because it's like, not only is this happening, but like for some reason my close friends are not helping me with this. So I had to like make new friends and basically pretend that this situation didn't happen so that I could keep these new friendships, because I'm not gonna go deep into all of this stuff with people I just met. And it was like this constant rebuilding. So yeah, I think that was one of the hardest things I've had to deal with so far, one of them. But yeah, I want to, well, before I say that, this year will mark 16 years that I've been saved. It was on August 12th, 2004. Just to like lighten the mood, because that was like really depressing. But like I'll be saved for 16 years this year. And 16, like I said, I was 16 when I got saved. And I've just been really excited to hit that point in my life where I'm like, I've been saved over half my life. And I'm not there yet. Like I was 3 months away from being 17. So I was like 16 and 9 months. So I think I gotta be like 33 and 6 months, 33 and a half. So maybe next year I'll hit, but at least I'll be like 16 years this year. Yeah, that's still exciting though. But I don't know what about it. It's just like an exciting milestone for me to be like, I've spent more than half my life in the church. Because there was a time when I wouldn't have wanted this, but like I wouldn't want to give it up. Even though like, okay, there's a whole purpose for this show, because the church is not all glitz and glamour and, oh, holy night, like, well, I don't know why I picked that song, but like, it's not always like this little cakewalk. There's drama, there's all kind of stuff that happens that makes it difficult to be at church. It makes it difficult to, stay saved and be dealing with behaviors, because nobody's church is perfect. And, there's a whole reason that this show exists. If there weren't issues, this show would not exist. But, it's still not worth giving up my walk with Christ. And just to kind of like get into that a little bit, the purpose of this show is not to bash anybody's church, because like I said, nobody's church is perfect. Nobody's church is getting it all right. Nobody's church is not making mistakes, because perfection, that's just not going to exist. There's always going to be something that somebody doesn't like. There's always going to be, something that you're doing, you're doing it with the right intentions and it hits somebody the wrong way. So, it's not to talk about that. It's not to talk about my home church. It's to talk about things that happen, things that come up. we might run into conflict sometimes. How do we get through it? Can we talk about, let's talk about some ideas. Let's make some goals on how to get through it, because it happens all the time. It happens with me, and I need to figure out, what am I going to do? How do I strategize this? How do I love my brother or my sister in Christ, whether that's just somebody at my church, or if it's my husband, or my if one day my parents get saved and I have conflict with them, like, how do I deal with that? I would really like for us to get into these topics. And like I said before, I have a lineup ready for this year, and it goes all the way till December. It's already planned out, and I'm still filling in slots for guests. But we will be touching on a variety of topics. I will have my husband come on, and he will be talking with me about some topics related to marriage. Some are not, but that one's coming on like later this year, about going to church after you've had an argument with your spouse, because it's just hilarious to me. But yeah, so that's one topic. We have a topic that was inspired for me by this whole thing with Kevin Hart, called "Should I Delete My Old Tweets?" Church edition. Which it's a spin on what happened with him, but something that I do want to talk about, because when we get saved, there's a change that happens. There's a change in mentality and mindset, and things like apologies and disagreements and forgiveness and dating and breakups, and how are we supposed to deal with these things, these interpersonal issues that come up in the church. How are we supposed to deal with them and stay saved? And like I was telling my friends and my family, like, I don't, if this show's not speaking to me, I don't want it. If this show is not, if what we're saying is not also going to correct me and encourage me, I don't want it. And I wouldn't want to give that to you, because if I'm, like, why would I, if I don't want to eat it myself, why would I serve it to you? So that's really what I want to get into. But I'm really excited about what we have coming on this year, and my goal is to have a video prepared for release to you every second and fourth Monday, which leaves a lot of room for maybe bonus content, or if additional topics come up, we can definitely do that. And I would like to have more and more guests come on the show, but there will be times that it's just me, and I've said that before, but I kind of have people set kind of where I want them to be. Okay, so what I want from you is for you to comment below. I want suggestions from you. I want suggestions on topics that we can discuss. And maybe you've experienced something at your church. Like I'm over here dealing with my hair. Like, I don't know how my husband puts up with this, because my hair be everywhere, and people with hair like me, you all know the struggle, because this is just, I got them phantom hairs, and I feel them on my arms sometimes, and I can't find them. It's just, yeah. But if you've experienced something in your church, or you've seen somebody experience something in their church, I want you to ask below. Ask a question. Whatever such and such happened, and I want to know how to do this. Maybe, you were disrespected in some type of way. And it could be something, as small as just having a disagreement with somebody, not seeing eye to eye. It could be just you not liking somebody, or something more serious, like maybe somebody was being inappropriate towards you or your child or, whatever. But, this is just a space where we can discuss it and see, what have other people's experiences been? What have we done? What can we do? What does the Bible say? What is the solution? So I'm looking forward to that. Also, if you have any additional questions about me, I know I only gave some information, but if you have additional questions about me, I'm more than happy to answer. So go ahead and comment below. And, you'll get to meet my wonderful husband, James, very soon. He has his own show, and I'm very proud of all the things that, he's venturing in addition to his full-time job. He has a show that he is running on YouTube. It's on the channel called The Bishop Flow. So it's The Bishop as one word _flow. And his show is called What is Truth? And he is just like an awesome teacher. And he actually got made our Sunday school superintendent at church this year. So, now we got to make like even more of an effort to get up early on Sunday, get to Sunday school. It'd be hard sometimes, but Sunday school is like really important, and it's just hard. I'm not a morning person, but the Lord's just using him to bless our church, and he does the same on his show, where he goes and discusses different topics in the Bible. What does the Bible really say about these things? Because there's so much happening. He wants to just like dig in and get that out there. He also does a show together with one of our friends, Allie J, which is currently on her channel, which is under her name, Alyssa Jackson. And that show is called Dust Your Bibles Off, or DYBO. And that show has been running for like at least a year at this point, but they relaunched within the last few months. And on that show, they're systematically going through the Bible, going through Bible stories, and looking at the different people in the Bible and the significance of the things that happen in their lives, the Lord's will and purpose, and how it applies to us, and just kind of bringing it in a modern context. Just going through those stories in a modern setting. So they crack jokes all day, every day, but it's a good show. So if you find them, go ahead and like, subscribe, watch, and I advise you to do the same with my videos. I want you to subscribe. I want you to hit the bell for notifications. I want you to comment below. I want you to like the video. I want you to share. So if you could please help me by doing those things, and like I said, comment below. Comment below, please. But yes, I thank you for your time. I pray that God would bless you, and that you give me some good ideas to move forward with this show. So yeah, that is all I have for you, and this is probably going to be 2 videos because it is 52 minutes right now. So with that being said, take care, God bless, and I'll see you next time.
Truth, love, faith.